Maggie had always loved the outdoors. So, when her best friend, Clara, suggested a weekend getaway to a remote cabin deep in the woods, she didn't hesitate. It was the perfect escape from the stress of work and the chaos of city life. The air was crisp, the skies clear, and the scent of pine needles filled the air as they arrived at the secluded spot. The cabin was quaint and rustic, with wooden beams and a stone fireplace. It seemed untouched by time, and Maggie felt a wave of calm wash over her. They spent the first day hiking, cooking over an open fire, and laughing under a canopy of stars. But as night fell, Maggie noticed something strange. The wind carried faint sounds, almost like whispers, drifting through the trees. She chalked it up to her imagination or perhaps the effects of the wine they'd shared earlier. The second night, things took a darker turn. Maggie awoke suddenly, her heart racing, unsure of what had startled her. The room was deathly silent, save for the faint creaking of the wooden floorboards. She glanced at Clara, who was still sound asleep. Then she heard it again. A soft, shuffling sound, like footsteps outside the cabin. Gripping the flashlight she'd left by her bed, Maggie tiptoed to the window. Peering out, she saw nothing but darkness and the faint outline of the trees. But as she turned to go back to bed, a movement caught her eye, a shadow darting between the trees. The next morning, Maggie told Clara about what she'd heard and seen. Clara brushed it off, laughing. "You've been watching too many horror movies," she teased. Determined not to let her imagination ruin the trip, Maggie tried to shake off the unease. But her instincts told her something was wrong. While Clara went for a nap that afternoon, Maggie decided to explore the area around the cabin. That's when she found it. A short walk behind the cabin revealed a hidden clearing. In the center was an old, weathered well, its wooden cover rotted and splintered. Surrounding the well were scattered remnants of items that didn't belong, rusted tools, broken jars, and what appeared to be scraps of clothing. A chill ran down Maggie's spine. She leaned closer, peering into the well's dark depths. At first, she saw nothing. But then, as her eyes adjusted, she caught a faint glimmer, something metallic reflecting the light. Before she could investigate further, a voice interrupted her. "What are you doing out here?" She spun around to see Clara, her expression unreadable. Maggie stammered, I just found this clearing, Anne." Clara's face softened, but her tone was firm. "It's just an old well. Probably used by the people who built the cabin. Let's go back." That night, Maggie couldn't shake the feeling that Clara was hiding something. Her friend had seemed unusually tense ever since she found the well. Unable to sleep, Maggie waited until Clara was snoring softly, then slipped out of bed and back to the clearing. This time, she brought a rope. Tying it securely, she lowered herself into the well. What she found sent shivers down her spine. At the bottom of the well were bones, human bones. Beside them lay a rusted locket, its clasp broken. Inside was a photo of a young girl, her face smiling but haunting. Maggie climbed out of the well as fast as she could, her mind racing. Who did the bones belong to? And why was Clara so insistent on leaving the clearing alone? Confronting Clara wasn't easy. At first, her friend denied everything. But under Maggie's relentless questioning, she finally broke. Clara admitted that she'd known about the well all along. Her family had owned the cabin for decades, and there were rumors about a tragedy, a young girl who'd gone missing and was never found. Clara insisted she didn't know the full story, but Maggie wasn't convinced. The whispers in the wind, the shadows in the trees, and the eerie presence in the cabin, they all pointed to something far more sinister. As they packed to leave the next day, Maggie couldn't shake the feeling that the cabin's secrets weren't meant to be uncovered. But she couldn't ignore the nagging question, if the bones in the well belonged to the missing girl, who, or what, was watching them from the woods.